Hi, I'm Merlane Keller, and this is
Annetta, Powell. We're sisters.
We're sisters. We're part of the Kopke family, and we're here today to put some bricks in for my husband
And our brother, Ron.
next to our dad, Merle Kopke. And we're very happy that we can share this moment together as sisters, because we're very proud of our family members that served in the service. And I think it's awesome that I walked around today and looked at other Oregon people, because we're old Oregon.
We are. And Dad was World War II. I see other people here I recognize from World War II with their sons. Ron was 22 years in the Navy. Tom was in the Navy.
My husband Tom, and
he served on the
John F. Kennedy.
right.
And we just went back for a reunion. 30 years we were first married, and that was pretty special.
Yeah.
So this is pretty special to us.
Where was the reunion?
The reunion was in Norfolk, Virginia, which Mom saw Dad in Norfolk, Virginia during World War II, or just after World War II.
Yeah, right, she did.
Yeah. And he was on a oiler.
A supply ship,
supply ship.
in the Pacific when he was 17 when he enlisted, and he was in the Pacific. He had
Which
a
is
couple
very young.
which is
It was
very
very
well. It
young.
was which some of them did get in younger than the 18, which is now a mandatory age. But he served in the Pacific, and so did he had 3 brothers that were there as well.
Yeah. So it's very special, and we'd like to see more bricks for more people out here in Oregon.
Yeah,
because
to
it's
honor our veterans, to let them know that they are appreciated. And there are bricks here from World War II, Vietnam, Korea.
Yes.
All
Neighbors.
wars.
I saw
Neighbors,
neighbors,
friends.
Friends.
Yep. Exactly. So
It's a nice way to let our veterans know that we care.
And today the bricks are going to be put in.
yes.
So we're excited to see that.
We are.
Ladies, thank you for sharing your story, and we honor your family's dedication and service to our country.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Born in East Germany, and the part of East Germany that most people today couldn't even comprehend the degree of, I guess you'd say, poverty or status of life then. You know,
Of North Korea today.
yeah, I mean, their family treat once a week was to go to the butcher shop to get a slice of bologna. Slice of bologna to share.
To share.
Yeah, and my grandfather's father worked in a stone quarry and helped out in cemeteries in the area. And in growing up, he wound up going into the trade of stone cutting and was working in a quarry prior to World War II. But he was drafted into the German army. And before he left for his deployment, the German government delayed his draft because he was working on a windowsill, and that was the last piece that he needed to finish. And it's a windowsill in the Bundestag, which is the Congress building in Berlin that was built. And so once that piece was finished, he was shipped off to the Russian front and lost half his toes in negative 84 below weather. And they were part of the famous blunder where all the coats went to France and all the shorts and t-shirts went to Russia.
Yeah.
And there was one night his replacement guard didn't come to relieve him, so his feet got wet, cold, and 84 below, lost half his toes. So spent a few months in hospital, actually where he met my grandmother, and after he was all better, he was sent down to Italy as a machine gunner on the Gustav lines, and then from there they were captured by the British 8th Army. And because the British feared that if Germany took Europe and they took Great Britain, they didn't want to hold prisoners in Great Britain, so he was sent to America. And he came through on a boat as a prisoner of war through Virginia. And the stories they were told, of course, is America's on its knees and all this, you know, or on the verge of victory, right, essentially. And when he and his fellow soldiers came through the port in Virginia, they just shook their heads and said, "Good night, Germany." There was more ships and more goods and more supplies than they'd ever seen in their entire life in one port. And so eventually went to Camp Ellis in Illinois, which was a major POW camp and training facility for World War II. And then after a short stint there, he went up to Wisconsin as a prisoner of war, worked in Lodi, Hartford, all throughout Wisconsin on farms and factories and things, because all the labor was gone. You know, all the farm labor was gone fighting the war. So they had these basically bands of prisoners that would go around, and I mean, they had overall wonderful relationships with the communities they were a part of. You know, we were very well fed. He came here, I think, 129 pounds and left 180. So, yeah, and so then after his time spent here as a prisoner of war, he was sent back to Germany, and from there, basically his hometown was non-existent anymore, because after the war, all the borders shifted. So Russia took part of Poland and helped Poland move the border into Germany, and now his hometown was in Poland, a land he was technically not from. So he was not welcome there. And not being a West German, he had 3 weeks to marry a West German girl or leave. And so he basically proposed to my grandma and said, you know, we're going to go back to America, or I'm going to go back to America, and you should marry me and let's go. And ultimately they did. In 1949 they got married and came over, applied for citizenship, and were sponsored by a farmer in Lodi that he worked for during the war. So they sponsored his voyage over here, I suppose, and after 9 months of working for him on the farm, they paid their debt, and they came down to Madison, and he worked for a monument company on the west side, getting back into the stone cutting. And then in 1971, rented a 2-car garage out on the north side of Madison, and started what would become our company today. And so we have kind of a history of giving back to veterans, especially in this area, as a thank you. So, you know, for how well they were treated and things like that. So
How many years has the Pechmann Memorial's been in existence?
49 years.
49 years.
50
and
years
Could
next
you tell
year.
us your granddad's name again?
Kurt Pechmann.
Is he still alive?
No, he passed away June 28th, 2009.
Thanks for that story.
That is an
Wonderful.
awesome story. That is just
I've heard this story. And